everyone. Good morning or good evening, depending on which time zone you currently reside in. I want to first welcome you to the news brief on the unofficial WWE podcast with your host, me. That's right, it is Amanda Gynn. I am recording on this Thursday, October the 28th. First of all, I want to thank Matt for this amazing opportunity. I am super excited to be taking over the news brief podcast, and I hope I can do it justice for you guys. So the first order of business, if you are not currently subscribed on Patreon, please do so. For just $1 a month, you can get amazing features like the Discord chat, which is one of my favorite things, and the best of all, no ads. Hey guys, your time is precious. We don't want to be sitting listening to ads. We want to enjoy our podcast experience, so definitely hit that subscribe button ASAP. For those of you who are new to the podcast, or if you're not and you do not know me, again, my name is Amanda. I am a longtime wrestling fan. I started watching WCW back in 1996, and here I am now. I'm 32 years old now, so I've been watching for quite a long time. I currently reside in Virginia. I am married with 2 kids. I have a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old, so my time is very precious, as you can hear. My moments in wrestling that I really enjoyed growing up, I love the Monday Night Wars. I remember some of that stuff so vividly that it just has really stuck with me. There are some moments in the Ruthless Aggression area that I really liked, and then some in the PG era, and then other ones. But definitely the Monday Night Wars stick out to me the most. And also anything that I've witnessed live. I've been to quite a few live events, and for people who have been to live events that can fully understand where I'm coming from, it is just something about witnessing it live that it is just an experience in itself that you just can't describe sometimes. So guys, if you have not been to a live event before, I strongly encourage it, whether it's WWE, AEW, or Impact. Definitely go to a show live one time and you will definitely understand what I mean by that. Speaking of live show, my husband and I are actually going to be going to SmackDown on November the 12th. It's going to be coming to Norfolk, Virginia. I'm super excited about it because my husband has actually never been to a WWE show before or any live wrestling event. So I am super excited for him and for me too, because it's been a while since I've been to a show. All right, so now that we have got all that stuff out of the way first, go ahead, grab your cup of coffee or tea, whatever your beverage of choice is, and let's dive into some of the biggest news stories that are going on in professional wrestling this week. And just a sidebar, I will discuss any promotion that I deem that's newsworthy, not just WWE. So if it is AEW, Impact, anything that I think might be interesting to you guys or I really want you guys to hear about, I will definitely talk about it on this podcast. So one of the biggest stories that has come across the newsfeed, if you've been on social media, especially Twitter this week, is about Ring of Honor. So Ring of Honor actually put out a tweet this week, and I'm going to read this tweet to you guys. It said, throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe despite not producing any live events over 18 months. We were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and planning a pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with a final battle in December, and we will be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally to re-image ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we reconceptualize ROH. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Super Card of Honor with a new fan-focused product and providing a unique experience to wrestling fans. For those of you who are not familiar with Ring of Honor, they are a professional wrestling promotion that's based out of Baltimore, Maryland. They started back in 2002. They have, I guess, from what I read, they have gone under new ownership within the last couple years under this company called Sinclair Productions or Management, can't remember, Broadcasting, excuse me. So I guess there were some rumors circulating too that it was Sinclair Broadcasting that is canceling all of the ROH television shows, which I discovered is not true. So that rumor was confirmed that is not true. So one of the articles that I found on the Wrestling Observer speaking about all this that's going on based off that tweet, it was talking about that ROH is not renewing talent contracts following the hiatus announcement. So the article is reading that contracted talent signed to Ring of Honor won't have their contracts renewed as the company looks to go on hiatus and reevaluate in the first quarter of 2022. Brian Alvarez is reporting that contracted talent will not have their contracts renewed and are allowed to work anywhere they want immediately. They will also be paid through the end of the year. However, they will finish out remaining ROH dates for 2021. ROH will continue with a November television taping followed by their final Battle pay-per-view, which will take place on December the 11th at the Chesapeake Employers Insurance Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Final Battle will be the first card to have fans in attendance since the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view in September. And then also want to give a shout out to DJ Kuzmo, who had sent me some of the names of some of the talent you guys may or may not be familiar with that will not be having their contracts renewed. And that's the Briscoes, EC3, and Brody King. It's really unfortunate that this has happened to ROH. It's not surprising because with COVID, it has been such an impact on the economy and a lot of companies, especially these independent wrestling promotions that are not huge like WWE. So I really hope that Ring of Honor can bounce back from this, and especially their talent, that they can find jobs quickly with other promotions, whether that be WWE or AEW or Impact. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a tweet this evening that Tony Khan is going to be signing some of the talent to the AEW roster. I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not, but definitely kudos to him if he's going to be picking up this talent so, they do not go without jobs. So another very interesting thing that happened this week in wrestling is there was a release. This was not a budget-related release. SmackDown ring announcer Greg Hamilton was released. So this article that I found from Wrestling Inc. is reading that Hamilton removed WWE from his Twitter bio earlier this week and made the account private. PW Insider reports that they checked into his status due to the change and learned that he has been released. There's no word yet on why Hamilton was released, but it's interesting that his departure comes after a recent social media issue he had with a rapper and known professional wrestling fan, Westside Gunn of Griselda Records. Sidebar, if you guys know him, let me know because I have never heard of this person. Anyways, so Hamilton recently took issue with Gunn using a sample of his voice on a song and stated on Instagram that WWE lawyers would sue Gunn on his behalf. Gunn's next project, titled Fourth Rope, has been described as practically an homage to wrestling fans. Hamilton has since removed the Instagram post calling out Gunn, but he originally wrote, "Well, at West Gunn, let's hope since you stole my voice for your incoherent kindergarten fables, that you saved up enough delivering for DoorDash because you are," censored emoji, "you'll be paying me for years. Apologize, and I'll think about not collecting every dime for the rest of your life. Or I can just get WWE lawyers. That's okay too. Settle with my lawyer and don't ever use my voice again. So wrong." Hamilton noted in a follow-up Instagram comment, "TikTok, the longer this goes, the longer I have in court. You ready to settle or do you want to dance with WWE lawyers? It's a slam dunk. Price goes up by the day." Hamilton then wrote in another follow-up comment, "It was $20K, but at noon Eastern, it's $30K. And we go to court." It remains to be seen if this West Side Gun issue is related to Hamilton's WWE release. There's also no word on if Hamilton asked to be let go. And I actually did some digging today and looked at a WWE to see if his profile is there. It has been removed. Just some side information about Hamilton. He first signed with the WWE back in 2015. He's worked on the main roster since March of 16, working just about every main roster show at times, including WWE Superstars and WWE Main Event. He has been the ring announcer on SmackDown for a few years now. I'm all about protecting your intellectual property, especially if someone is using your voice or your song or your lyrics or your beats for their own personal gain without your consent. That's definitely a big thing. However, you are working for a huge corporation. You just can't go on a Twitter rant or an Instagram rant and tell somebody that you're going to get the WWE lawyers to sue you. First of all, yes, you work for that company, but they are not your personal lawyers. You can't just go threatening a lawsuit with somebody like that. All Greg Hamilton had to do was go to his boss and say, hey, this guy is using my voice, which is also part of WWE. WWE wants to protect their product and doesn't want their stuff used without their consent. And WWE would have sent him a cease and desist order. And if he still didn't want to, then it would have been a lawsuit. Now, this guy is out of a job because he decided just to be stupid and go on a huge rant on social media. Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, always be careful what you say on social media because it can come back to bite you. So the next thing I want to talk about is Miss Charlotte Flair. There has been a lot going on this week regarding Charlotte and Becky, and there has been Sonya Deville in the mix and other. So if you are unaware what has been going on, so last Friday on SmackDown, during the so-called title exchange debacle, we'll just call it that for right now, it was supposed to be a smooth transition, but for those of you that saw it or didn't, it did not go as planned. Some people would call it Charlotte threw a hissy fit, threw the belt at Becky, Becky threw the belt back at her. There were some confrontations backstage. A lot of stuff has been put into negative light regarding Charlotte, but this article that I found from Bleacher Report, I thought was pretty interesting, that kind of sheds a little bit more insight on why Charlotte may have did what she did. So the article is reading, there's been a lot of simic dump of negative backstage talk about Charlotte Flair since her backstage confrontation with Becky Lynch at Friday's SmackDown. The prevailing narrative has painted Lynch in an entirely positive light, while Flair has been seen as an increasingly difficult personality who has alienated herself from her peers. Alex McCarthy of TalkSport provided a somewhat better picture of Flair, saying she wanted to lose the Raw Women's Championship to Bianca Belair on last week's Raw, rather than hand it over via title exchange with Lynch. The report notes that Flair is a Belair fan and wanted to put the EST of WWE over in a big way. Objectively speaking, this would have been much better planned than the awful segment that concluded on Friday's SmackDown. It's just not clear if it's entirely accurate. Fightfully Select reported that people in the WWE locker room challenged the notion that Flair pushed to lose the match. Regardless of which side of the aisle you stand on in this conflicting reports, it's clear that Flair has some damage control to do with her coworkers. She's unquestionably booked as the top women's star in the division, and many would argue deservedly so. But this recent increase in tensions behind the scenes could impact her spot at the top of the card, especially with someone as well regarded as Lynch standing in her position. If this is true, that Charlotte actually wanted to lose the belt to Bianca, and WWE decided to scrap her idea and just go ahead with this, we'll just call it stupid title exchange that happened on last week's SmackDown. I completely side with Charlotte. First of all, I feel like Bianca should not have lost the title so quickly like she did. But that's another conversation for another day. But it would have just made more sense if you would have had Becky lose the title to Sasha at Crown Jewel. And then you would have had Charlotte lose the belt to Bianca at that Raw that just happened. You would have avoided this whole title swap, any of the drama that would have happened backstage. You know, Sonya feeling some type of way. She wants to fight Charlotte, this, that, and the third. Now, Charlotte's, you know, being what everybody's calling her a B word. She's alienating herself from the locker room. She's doing this, she's doing that. It would have just made a lot more sense if, you know, WWE, sometimes they need to listen to their talent, because sometimes their talent can give them better ideas than what Vince is trying to offer. But as I said previously, that is another conversation for another day. So the next big thing that I saw on Twitter as well is about Bray Wyatt. So for those of you that have been keeping track, as of today, he has just 2 more days. That is right, folks. 2 more days in his non-compete clause, So this article that I found off of comicbook.com is saying that one of the biggest free agents in wrestling, the man formerly known as Bray Wyatt, who was released shockingly by WWE earlier this year. Since that release, fans have wondered where he'll be going next, and names like Impact and AEW are often spoken of in those conversations. We still don't know where he'll end up, but thanks to a post on Twitter, we do now know when he can actually start working for another company, as Wyatt, now known as Wyndham, revealed he only has 2 days left in his non-compete WWE contract. The post just simply reads, 2 more days. And I actually noted on Twitter probably about maybe 2 or 3 hours ago where his Twitter name was at WWE Bray Wyatt. The WWE part is finally gone. I had heard that there was some back and forth going on that WWE, I think, was holding on for dear life, keeping their name in his Twitter name. I don't know why, but for some reason they were. But now it is officially gone, ladies and gentlemen. We can finally figure out where he's going. I am not sure if he is going to AEW. I guess I heard some rumors a while back that he was going to Impact. Wherever he goes, I just hope he has a lot more creative freedom than what he did in WWE, because he's an amazing talent and I think he can really bring a lot to whatever roster and promotion he's going to be going to. So the last little bit of news I want to share with you guys, on Monday, WWE.com actually unveiled their 2022 pay-per-view schedule. And I find this so hilarious because I know Matt absolutely hates this, because in the very beginning of the article, it says, for the first time in history. Why WWE always wants to put this out there that it's the first time in history? WWE, newsflash, we don't care. They had announced the dates and locations for the following pay-per-view schedule. The 2022 slate, highlighted by a 2-night WrestleMania at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas, will also mark a new record. Once again, another thing WWE loves to point out, that it's a new record for something. For the most stadium events, a minimum of 4 in a year for WWE. So the schedule is going to go as follows. Saturday, January 1st is going to be day 1. First of all, why are we calling a pay-per-view day 1? Can we not think of something better than that? Anyways, that's going to be at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Then on Saturday, January 29th, the Royal Rumble is going to be at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis. Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd is going to be WrestleMania, again at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas. By the way, guys, if you want to go to WrestleMania, the tickets go on sale. I want to believe I read tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I will double check, but I want to say they go on sale tomorrow. Sunday, May the 8th, they have not disclosed the name of the pay-per-view, but it's going to be at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. Sunday, June the 5th is going to be an unnamed pay-per-view right now at the Allstate Arena in Chicago. Saturday, July the 2nd is going to be the Money in the Bank at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. For those of you that remember, this is where we just had SummerSlam at. Saturday, July the 30th, SummerSlam is going to be at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I find it very interesting that SummerSlam is now moving up to July, so I wonder what's going on with that. Saturday, September the 3rd, or it's going to be Sunday, September the 4th, there's going to be a pay-per-view at a to-be-determined location. And then Saturday, November the 6th, Survivor Series is going to be at the TD Garden in Boston. Then it says, in addition to the events above, pay-per-views taking place in February and October will be announced in the near future. Fans interested in up-to-date ticket information for the 2022 WWE pay-per-view events can register at wwe.com/2022 pay-per-view. By the way, I actually tried to go on that today just so I can sign up and kind of get some information. I could not get the website to work. I don't know if it was my computer I was working on today or the website itself, but if you can get it to work, let me know, because like I said, I could not get it to work for me. And then Nick Khan had released a statement in the article. It says, since returning to live events this past July, our fans have graciously expressed a tremendous appetite to attend WWE events. As we begin to make plans for the next year, we want to make sure that 2022 schedule and locations of our pay-per-views were made available to them. So I found it interesting that they have released the pay-per-view schedule like this, because usually it seems like WWE likes to do this at the last minute. But I do see, let's see, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8 or 9 Saturday pay-per-views. So it looks like WWE is starting to move away from possibly Sunday pay-per-views, aside from, WrestleMania going to be Saturdays and Sundays. It looks like this is something that they might be doing in the near future, which for me, as a mom that has a child in school, I am not complaining about Saturday night pay-per-views, because trying to stay up till 11, 12 o'clock at night watching a pay-per-view and have to get up the next morning kills me every time. So thank you guys again for turning in for this week's news brief. I want to record at least once a week, sometimes maybe more, depending on if any breaking news occurs, especially like I noted previously with Bray Wyatt NCC contract ending up in 2 days. If he puts out, where he's going to be going or releases any information, I will definitely put a news brief out on that. So don't forget, you guys, to follow the podcast on social media. It's going to be at wrestling_audio on Twitter, or on Instagram, it's going to be at WWE_podcast. Or you can send an email to Matt at realwwepodcast@gmail.com. And if you guys, you can also follow me on Twitter. I am at Amanda_Gynn. That is GYNN. Or you guys can feel free to send me an email anytime that you guys find any interesting wrestling news that I should know about, or you think it's definitely important for us to hear about. My email is ADG, that's Alpha Delta George, 757 @hotmail.com. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, like I said, depending on what time zone you're in. You guys be safe, especially for you all that are going out this weekend. It is Halloween, so if your little kiddos are going to be going out trick-or-treating, be safe. You guys going to Halloween parties, have lots of fun. Please don't drink and drive. Be safe. Other than that, thank you guys again for tuning in. Please give me feedback. Let me know how I did. I will greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I will see you guys next week.